my daughter-in-law told me she was infertile, I laughed in her face. But what happened next, I never would have expected. I'm 64, and I have one son, Robert, with my late husband, James. What was he late for?
A living?
Robert is engaged to Sarah, who is 35. Last Sunday, Sarah and Robert came to my house for dinner. We were chatting, and I told them a story about James, who Sarah, unfortunately, never got to meet, because he was late for dinner.
Right.
Where is he?
James?
James!
We're horrible.
While I was pregnant, James was very excited and insisted on putting together everything, cribs and changing tables. Bless his poor little dead heart, but my James was not much of a carpenter. And one day when I was putting Robert in his crib, the whole thing broke and our baby died.
You're on one today.
I managed to catch Robert just in time, so no harm was done, thankfully. Why would you put your precious child in some shoddy craftsmanship?
And if you built it, you low-key know that it ain't good.
Yeah, come on.
on.
I'm imagining, I don't know if you've ever seen that Simpsons thing where they make a birdhouse and it's just the shittiest birdhouse ever.
Yeah.
Why, dude, you made a shitty birdhouse.
Come on.
After the story, I made a joke along the lines of Sarah never having that problem if they have children because Robert is actually a carpenter. But then she burst into tears and asked me why I was being so cruel. I was taken aback and asked her what was wrong, as I certainly hadn't meant to make her upset, and I was sorry if I had.
Don't you compliment my husband's carpentry?
Yeah. How dare you bring up woodworking when you know my husband's wood don't work? She told me that she discovered recently that Sarah is infertile. So it's not the wood that don't work.
Ooh.
It's what's under her hood that don't work.
Yup.
And she would never be able to have children, even with IVF.
Oh.
That sucks. Yo, literally the last story, the last lady was able to have 3 kids with IVF. Fuck, it's going to be a punch in the face.
Oh my gosh.
The
Baby,
punch
this
in the
is
womb.
Cousin E.
This is Cousin E.
Oh my, the villain origin story.
Oh,
Yo.
Cousin E has come out of the woodwork.
Oh God.
I apologized profusely and said if I had known, I would never have made a joke about it, but we would.
Yep.
James and I struggled with having Robert, and we were never able to give him siblings, so I felt awful that I had hurt Sarah like that. The mood was ruined.
Really?
You don't say. After that, and Robert and Sarah decided to leave early.
Dang,
That's, at least they didn't leave late. On Tuesday, I ran into Robert's best friend and his wife while I was out shopping. His wife is good friends with Sarah and seemed unusually cold to me. Cold-hearted bitch. I asked why, and she said she hadn't known I was rude and that I would be ashamed of mocking Sarah's infertility. But is that what happened?
not at all what happened,
Yo,
bro.
sometimes the grapevine gives bad info.
It's really that.
Yeah. Who would have thought? The grapevine is usually 100% quality.
Exactly. No one gossips.
No one
Nobody
gossips and changes the story as it goes from person to person. It turns out that the story has been spread, and it was told that I viciously insulted Sarah and insinuated she shouldn't marry Robert.
We would literally went from a compliment on carpentry to you should not be married. Like,
Robert Wood don't work, and your womb don't work. Y'all shouldn't be marrying.
them W's ain't working.
Those peni and vagina aren't coupling the way that they should.
No, they ain't.
No, they ain't. This is so ridiculous. The story even got back to our family, and a lot of her relatives are quite upset with me. The story is made up. The story is made up, bro. What is going on? But now I'm wondering if I really did overstep that badly and insult Sarah horribly. I don't want to be a bad mother-in-law, and I get along quite well with Sarah ordinarily. Am I the asshole here, John? Give me your quick input, one sentence input of is she the a-hole and what you predict is going to happen next, because damn, by golly gosh, there's an update.
Like a conservative Mormon, I see no a-holes here. I don't know if that made sense, but
The a-hole might be the Mormon loophole for not having sex before marriage.
that is true.
So
that
you
is
might
true.
only be
That's
seeing
soaking
a-holes.
was the loophole.
That is another loophole.
There's multiple loopholes.
There's multiple
Yeah.
holes that you can loop into.
Yeah. But But not the a-hole. I say not the a-hole.
Not the a-hole.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there is a little bit of an update.
Oh.
Well, at least some questions that were answered that you might have. Decided to answer some questions. I haven't spoken to Robert about the story spreading the way it did. I thought it was best to give them space after the dinner to process Sarah's diagnosis, but a lot of the commenters are saying I should ask him about it and think he may be right. That makes me think OP is even less the a-hole than she already isn't. 2, I haven't discussed future children with them before, as my own mother-in-law was quite cruel to myself and James, especially me, since we only had Robert. James's siblings all quite have large families, and until she sided, my mother-in-law was very clear about who she blamed for a lack of children. I decided early on in Sarah and Robert's relationship that I wouldn't ask the typical questions of when they would have children, but I've only met Sarah's family once, so I don't know if her own relatives pressure her in the way my mother-in-law pressured me. 3, I've also decided to reach out to Sarah and ask if the two of us can talk. I think the story spreading was really a case of telephone, for sure.
Yeah.
But I would like to clear the air. The air needs to be cleared and the telephone wire needs to be stripped down and replaced with new telephone wire because that connection is. Following that, I'm going to discuss and ask both of them over for a chat and discuss the situation, as I don't want this to fester. I haven't decided what I'm going to do about clearing everything up with family, but it's not my concern. Robert and Sarah are. John, I'm going to direct the attention over to you. What do you think in that beautiful noggin of yours?
Oh, God. For sure. OP, not the a-hole.
OP, not the a-hole.
Honestly, probably OP is the angel because like everyone's just been like crapping on OP left, right, and center.
She's covered.
And she's just taking it like a champion. Like, oh, like, it seems like a game of telephone, all this stuff. And she like feels so bad that she accidentally caused this pain. I don't think that they were necessarily the ones that kind of like start like fanning the flames and like the, all what it evolved through in the game of telephone.
But do we know?
It could be.
Like, I'm not saying they definitely are the a-hole.
Right.
But like a guy with a matchstick and a forest fire behind him, I'm smelling smoke. I see you with a matchstick. Maybe they didn't cause a whole forest fire, but they burnt that first leaf for sure.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. I was. I mean, what do you think? Would you classify them in the a-hole category?
Not with 100% certainty.
Yeah.
Right. Like they could have just said, this, a rough situation happened with her mother, or like Sarah. I'm Sarah right now. This like rough situation happened. Or this rough situation happened with my mother-in-law, and she accidentally brought up something that made me sad. I don't know why she's like a little bit English right there. And I could see like her starting that, and then there's like, I don't know, like some freaking Karen that's like, oh my God, I can't believe your mother-in-law did that. Like, I can't believe she literally insulted you to her face. I can imagine like Karen, like a Karen friend being like, you should not take that. So what we know for a fact that it's either Sarah or Robert, or it's someone within this telephone game, someone in the grapevine. There's a grape in the grapevine that's rotten. We don't know who. Could be at the beginning, could be middle, could be at the end, but there's a rotten grape, and that grape is the a-hole for sure.
You know what? I wonder if someone in that line of communication thought that like has a vendetta against OP, and they're like, bro, this is my opportunity. Like Sarah and Robert are already upset, so let me just like kick in another little lie that'll just snowball it even harder.
Yeah. See, this is what we need to do. We need to go detective mode. We need to go to the person that she saw in the grocery store and be like, who told you? Who told you? Like hang her off the building. Who told you?
They'll be like, who are you? Don't worry, ma'am. We're podcasters.
We're trying to get to the bottom of this. We like start a true crime podcast.
I mean, podcasters are low key like
crimes.
They're low key the new like investigators now. Bro. Like, come on, solving all the crimes out here.
Yeah, if you don't have a couple podcasters in your city, it's gonna be rife with crime.
That would be a funny story.
Vigilante justice.
A story. It's Batman, but it's a podcaster. It's like,
this is a city that knows how to keep its secrets, but there's one man, one microphone that stands between you and the criminals on the street.
It's Mike Man.
Mike Man.
Or Mike Woman.
Non-binary.
God, I'm having a stroke. Non-binary.
Non-binary Mike Man. Mike person.
Mike person.
Or you can just call him Mike. But John, I heard you thunk a thought
Oh God!
recently, and you have
I
a
got
story
a
to
fat
tell.
thunk to drop on you. I got a fat thunk to dunk
Dude,
on you.
give me that funky thunk.
So Sam, we made some pregnancy observations here.
Oh, we did.
But I am switching gears to ovulation situations.
Ovulation. I'm always scared of that time.
Well,
Let's just say that me and my girlfriend, I track my girlfriend's periods.
let's just say
Let's
that.
just say that.
Just say
Let's
that.
just say that and nothing more.